wash them off there.
We live here in Ohlone lands and we rent a home in a cul-de-sac just 10 minutes from the bay. And our lawn is drying here in early May already due to drought and low rainwater in the winter, lack of care to nurture the aquifers, lack of know-how. tuning into collaborating with habitat. And I love thinking about, what the trees have to say and how to relate to them and offer to them and communicate and learn from them, and then putting that into art as life is so beautiful and inspiring. And this dryness that we see here is mirrored across the state of California, and in a lot of places the agricultural industries where we would buy almond milk, it comes from these huge almond groves, and they're depleting all the rainwater there and the aquifers there, so a lot of tribes in the area aren't able to have their water flow. There's these ancient agricultural practices folks are pulling into today. Maybe they're not called agriculture. It's like tending the wild, tending meadows, tending aquifers, tending grasslands, tending forests. All the way to here.
Oh, all the way there?
Yeah, and here's where the babies start. Hey babies, I'm gonna pull out the weeds around you. Hello. And a person needs access to soil to tend. I love turning to soil and digging in and listening, literally asking for permission. And here where we live, we've dug in, and the whole lawn is covered with a layer of plastic net. And I guess it was put in with the sod, but it was so daunting to think about pulling the net out of the whole yard, where we just rent here. But little by little, if I just pull out net in one section at a time and plant a native plant there, I pull out one section at a time and plant some food or some herbs for tea, little by little, then slowly the whole net gets out. And we're not going to live here forever, might not live here much longer at all, but just liberating a little bit of the soil there, it felt so good, and so much health is regenerated so quickly. Like in a year or 2 years, it's bounced back. And so the center here of the heart of the yard, el corazón de la tierra, is inspired by the migration story of the Nahua folks who left Atzlan for Tenochtitlan, present-day Mexico City, and on the way they stopped at a flower mountain. Ever since I heard about Flower Mountain, wow, that's been so inspiring. And so, we've been cultivating this little flower mountain, a little hill, a little mound, and beside it, of course, is this little moat around it, a little trench that we dug, and that trench is holding so much water and moisture now with rocks in there and roots in there. And so we have these generations of fava and corn, and slowly digging out concentric circles around Flower Mountain, interplanting, growing milpa with the calabaza, with the semilla de maíz, and then the frijol, sometimes fava, sometimes pole bean. And it gets really overwhelming feeling ecosystem collapse in our bodies. I feel like we are all feeling it. Of course, frontline communities are impacted so much more, and low-income communities who are by petroleum, plants and processing and refineries is like the impact of oil and gas and ecosystem collapse is felt so presently with health problems, cancer, asthma, and it's like that's a pain of us participating in our own demise. Is such a painful experience for me to buy plastic every day and feel like it's unavoidable. I feel like plastic's choking our planet, it's choking our oceans, and there's estimates in by 2050 there's gonna be more plastic in the ocean than fish, and to like contribute to plastic waste constantly is so painful, and it's like a split consciousness. And it's like, well, humans, why do we do this? Why do we cover the planet in plastic? But there's so many alternatives being relearned in indigenous packaging, biodegradable packaging, and also new technologies of like plant-based plastics that are biodegradable too. Turning to, at that time of heightened climate anxiety and panic, it's like I gotta just remember to turn to Mama Maple Tree, and she has a lot to say about it, and she communicates through her roots, and she's communicating with this whole yard, the whole ecosystem and the habitat, which we humans are a part of. And so art's the same way. It's like art is part of everything around us. Art is pulsing with life, and when we try to contain it, maybe in a studio or a gallery, we forget the connection of the material we're using to the ecosystem it comes from. And so as we're re-remembering, how to live in reciprocity in place, where we're re-remembering how to cultivate connection with the material, knowing that it's alive, that this paper is coming from a tree that's alive, and how to use it in a good way. Wow, this corazón de la tierra, it's so beautiful. It's a work of art, and it's a collaboration with the habitat, and it's always changing and shifting. And my daughter gets to go out and eat fava beans from the yard anytime she wants, and it's a pulsating, center of life in what was otherwise a dry, very dry yard, lawn. I'm excited for us to dig down and embrace sacred darkness, and embrace aquifer regeneration, rehabilitation, and you can compost, and you can begin cultivating life and closing the loop of extraction and resource extraction in such a short amount of time. Literally putting one piece of food waste in the ground is one way to close the loop of extraction and human supremacy. So we get to dismantle that as artists. I think we get to really dismantle human supremacy and the supremacy of human ideas at the cost of ecosystem. And so that's what's been lighting me up.
My name is Lida. Hello, we're going to teach you how to make a rain garden. First, we dug holes to bury our compost in.
I just have like a, what do you call it, a sensitive...
Factory?
Yeah. You know that?
I didn't know that.
Next, we cover the compost with fresh dirt. We dug out a river. We made a flower mountain with the dirt in the middle.
garden that we've been cultivating in the front lawn for 2 years now. And it started just in the middle with 3 compost holes around this center, just like we were just doing. We dug a trench in between the holes, around the holes. In the trench then we put some rock that we found like on Craigslist. We went over and put it in buckets, the whole family, Champ and Lita and I, and brought the buckets of rock over here. And then what it created in the space that we carved out, like went down into the earth, it created a riparian zone. So we can cultivate our aquifers just in front lawns, in medians, off the rain gutters of houses, wherever we can help to cultivate places of moisture for the water to gather. Then the roots can seek also nourishment and shade and shadow in those rock riparian zones. So in this trench we put the rock, and you can see some of it exposed. I don't like to buy rock from Home Depot because I don't know how they extract it or where, but I feel like if I can get it off of Craigslist, or even sometimes people want you to take it away for free on Nextdoor. So we filled the trench, and then on both sides of the trench we planted fava beans, and the fava beans are putting nitrogen into the soil, and they're fixing the soil so other plants can grow, like the corn that we then planted. So the corn and the fava, they co-create really well together, which is the milpa. You have your corn, you have your calabaza. So we planted the seeds, and we planted cucumber seeds. And then you have your bean, and in this case it's fava, and then I also planted some other pole beans around the milpa. And so here you can see the baby corn. And each year we just extend the beds out more and more in like a concentric circle. So it's almost like it's a heart. It's like pumping life into the yard that was otherwise dead grass and plastic net. And now it's pumping all this life for the pollinators, for us to eat. We've had a lot of arugula grow here, this is all the seed, the dry seed from the arugula. And you can see there's native flowers blooming, the California poppy, and the pink ones are Clarkia. And you can just water using very little water. We'll just put the water here in the trench, slowly. And once the corn's bigger and the roots are longer, it'll reach out and collect the water in those spots. And we can also put the same thing, the hose on the inside there, so it creates a really amazing foundation for the plants to grow and reaching out towards the riparian ditches and growing up to the sun. So this is our third generation of fava, second generation of Hopi rainbow corn, and I'm glad to share this co-creation with you. Tierra mojada, me muero por ti. Te amo por tus curvas, por tus flores, por tus colores. Te amo por tu brilla. Gracias, piedrita. Gracias, tierrita. Gracias, tierrita. Gracias, tierrita. Gracias, tierrita. A la fava, a la fava. Al viento, a la semilla, creciendo tanto. Gracias, tanto. catch these prayers. Gracias, Pachamamita. Gracias, tierra Ohlone. Gracias, plantas indígenas de Turtle Island. Creciendo, rezando, ofreciendo, nos apoyan las plantas, la lluvia, Ejeca, el fuego. Multiculturales somos, no paramos, tenemos corazones, estamos escuchando la tierra. Gracias, Pachamamita, tierra, montaña sagrada de flores, haciendo corazones, escuchando las razones de regresar a la tierra. Love letter to the universe, love letter to the spirits of the land and my ancestors and the ancestors of the land, and hummingbirds and the pollinators is a love letter to worms and love letter to seeds for future generations that thrive.
Everybody, did you know this time, my next town is going to be how you can eat this real fun. First, you can twist the end if you can. What's the biggest end that you see? Or try to do that actually. You pull it back and forth until it gets off. It might show little bubbles, but that's okay. Doesn't mean it's not clean. Alright. Then you keep peeling and peeling off this green skin. Okay? You pull the string down from the middle. Then you keep picking and picking until you get to here. Then you're supposed to spin this side. have its own party.